Welcome back to our LTS speaking session. Today we're going to talk about speaking preparation, what actually works, especially for those people who are targeting band 7 up to 9. This strategy is going to help you to study better, to understand which parts of the exam you should be focusing on and what it is and what it's not. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing that you have to focus on and actually be careful with is understanding. This is the most basic thing actually. You have to understand the test format. Precision first. You have to know that this test has 3 main parts, and each part has a certain amount of time that is set for you to interact with the examiner. So part 1 takes between 4 to 5 minutes, which is about personal, simple questions. Part 2 takes between 3 to 4 minutes total, which is a long time. You are going to speak for about 2 minutes, and you're going to be given a cue card, and in this cue card, you're going to be given 1 minute to prepare for your answer. And part 3 is for up to 5 minutes, and this is abstract discussion part. So your goal here is to speak fluently and to be clear under time and pressure. So this is the general format, and this is how the IELTS speaking part works. The second part that you should be focusing on before you start preparing for your IELTS speaking is training your fluency. First of all, don't try to be perfect. Try to be fluent when you're training for the first time. Most candidates fail because they try to speak perfect English. That's not the goal. That's the wrong objective actually. The examiner rewards control of continuous speech, natural pauses, and self-correction. This is normal. If you don't overdo it, it's okay. Try to speak about random topics at least 60 up to 90 minutes when you're preparing, because this is an average time for most questions. Do not stop when you make grammar mistakes. If you can correct really quickly and move on, keep on correcting and moving on quickly, but you don't have to stop and think and try to correct it slowly. Just be as natural as much as possible. If you do this during your speaking practice, you're going to do the same during the examination. You don't have to change the technique. There is something we call extent technique. When you're preparing, you have to know what the extent technique is. Never give short answers. This is what it means. So the bad answer is, for example, yes, I like it. But the good answer would be, yes, I really like it because it helps me relax after a long day, especially when I feel mentally tired. For example, you give the answer, you give the reason, and you give an example. This is the extension technique. Answer, reason, example. Another thing that you have to focus is mastering fluency or thinking language. Native speakers don't answer instantly. They buy time naturally. So how do we buy time naturally? You use phrases such as, that's an interesting question. Let me think for a moment. I've never thought about that before, but this reduces panic and increases fluency score. Another thing that you have to focus on is building topic-based vocabularies, not random words. You have to stop memorizing long word lists. You have to focus on topic clusters, especially daily life topics. You have to learn usable phrases, not isolated words. For example, you're talking about passions. I tend to get impatient when I usually try to stay calm by. All this format is allowed. You could memorize these phrases and use them during your speech. Another thing is you have to practice with real questions, not theory. Most students waste time just trying to watch explanations. You can watch videos as an example, but after watching that video, as I say in most of my videos, go back and practice by yourself. Watch the video as much as you can as an example, and then try to answer the same question by using your own words. Find the really part 1 questions, find the really part 2 questions, the cue card question, and then find the real part 3 question. The best method is recording yourself, listening, identifying your hesitations, repetition, or grammar breakdown. Try to look at any mistakes that you're making so that you could correct yourself. If you hire a teacher, that's even better because they can help you to see mistakes better. Another thing is pronunciation. A lot of people try to fix pronunciation, but they don't have a strategy. You don't have to have a perfect accent. What you need is a clear sound and the correct word stress and the natural rhythm. You have to focus on ending sounds. These are very important for clarity. And also sentence stress. Important words are said louder. Another thing that you have to do is you have to try to simulate exam conditions weekly. So train like you are taking the real test. Sit alone, use a timer, and speak without stopping. This builds your confidence, your mental endurance, and automatic speaking ability. Another thing which is really important, I can't stress it enough, you have to avoid memorizing answers. Examiners are trained to detect memorization. If you sound like a robot or too structured or unnatural, the score will drop. These people are professional. They can feel that. You have to learn patterns and adapt answers in real time. The last thing is focusing on the 4 scoring criteria. So everything comes down to fluency and coherence. That's the first criteria. The second one is lexical resources, vocabulary. The third part is grammatical range and accuracy. And the last part is pronunciation. If one is weak, your band is limited. So as you see, those are things that you have to know and focus on before you start preparing for this examination. Once you know these things, you're good to go.